Seth.
S.W.Frost is now live streaming Hunt Showdown Digital Scammers Counter so far almost Friday I guess.
This beloved Batman villain, and to shit all over him like this, it's so weird. There was a moment during the third act when I thought this movie might develop Arthur a little bit further into the villain that we're all familiar with, when he decides to defend himself during the trial and arrived in his makeup and got this newfound wave of confidence, where he adopts this very strange accent for some reason.
Did I seem like a different person? Or was I the same old Joker?
It was very strange. I love how the movie tries to convince the audience that there were three major turning points for Arthur that will force him to abandon the Joker character.
There is no Joker.
The first being confronting Gary Puddles, which I was mostly fine with, but I definitely don't think that moment alone justified Arthur abandoning Joker. The second moment was when he was abused by the guards in the prison. And yeah, I get it, it must have been horrible for him. And you'd think being abused by these guards would make him retreat into himself even further, forcing him to become Joker even more. He should hate these guys. He should hate humanity, right? He should hate everybody except for, I don't know, Harley Quinn and his vocal supporters. This should have made him embrace embrace Joker. The one person that was kind to him in the first movie took the stand against him. The guards are treating him like dirt. Given the events in this movie, especially combined with those that happened in the first movie, there's no reason he shouldn't transform entirely into Joker. I hate this. The third and final nail in the coffin was the guilty verdict.
We, the jury, find Arthur Fleck guilty as charged.
Which is so stupid, because that verdict was written on the wall. It was so obvious. Anybody could have seen that coming, even Arthur. So to use that as the major turning point in Arthur's character, it makes no sense to me. He should have rejoiced when they bombed the courthouse. He should have taken this as an opportunity to fully embrace the Joker character and start this new life of crime. But of course this happened super late into the movie, because the movie spends half of the runtime in Arthur's imagination. This movie doesn't even feel like a movie. It goes nowhere and does nothing. I was half expecting an uprising to take place, where he'd suddenly be in charge of all these followers, and it'd be interesting to see how he'd navigate that. You know, because he'd be so out of his comfort zone, he would have to totally imagine himself as this new person, pushing Arthur Fleck further and further down, and pretending to be this Joker character until he becomes Joker. But that never happens. Todd Phillips knew we were expecting that too, so he trolls us by having Arthur Fleck's followers bomb the courthouse, and a few of them even get him in a car and drive away with him. He's overwhelmed by their radical fanaticism, so he runs away and finds Harley on those steps in the Bronx from the first movie.
Me and my friends used to take that staircase to school every day.
Okay, let's talk about the steps. Apparently Harley knows the significance of these steps because she grew up in the same neighborhood and watched the cartoon based on Joker's life, and in this cartoon, apparently, the steps are referenced. I'm not sure how the cartoonists knew about the steps and their significance in Arthur's life, unless they interviewed the cops that chased him or something. And even if they did, how would the cops know about the significance of these steps? To them, this should just be a random staircase. So the fact that Harley sits and waits for Arthur on these steps feels a bit contrived. Like, sure, these steps are significant to Arthur, but the rest of the world shouldn't know this. This is where she basically turns him down by singing at him. She still exists in the fantasy while Joker has abandoned it. No idea why he would. I get that it frightens him, but it's the only thing that led to anything positive in his life, so whatever. Later on, when Joker is arrested again, and all hopes of him turning into Mr. J are shot to shit, Todd Phillips really kicks the Batman fans in the balls by having an actual psychopath stab him to death after telling him a joke. This is Todd Phillips telling the audience that Arthur Fleck was never a psychopath, so it's silly that we would ever expect him to become like the other versions of Joker.
Brando, thank you so much.
I just want to...
When that's literally the name of these movies. Like, they're named Joker, of course we're going to expect that. Why wouldn't we expect him to become similar to what we've seen before? My biggest gripe with this movie is how unsatisfying it is. By the end of the movie, it kind of felt pointless. It felt like Todd Phillips was telling us, once an incel, always an incel. We all understand that Arthur Fleck is mentally ill and scarred from traumatic events from his past, but instead of allowing the character to rise above that, when the world around him is cheering him on, and allowing him the opportunity to grow and change, Todd Phillips thought it would be more profound to just allow all that stuff to happen in Arthur's mind. Arthur once dreamed about being loved by an audience, and now he is loved by an audience. They love him not for the reasons he wants them to love him. Todd would probably say, he wants to be a comedian, not the leader of a gang or cult. He wants to make people happy. He wants to make people smile. Okay, sure, but that's why you allow him to take what he can get. The world around him sucks ass, so let him make the world a big joke. He couldn't become a comedian on his own terms, so let him become one in the way the world is forcing him to become one. That would have been cool, but no.
There is no Joker.
The first movie gave us this loser, called him the Joker, put him in these awful situations and made him commit murders. The second movie is saying, yeah, he's always gonna be a loser and nothing's gonna change that, sorry. I get why people hate this movie now. It spits in the face of our expectations. It feels pretentious in that way. I wish the movie allowed him to blossom a bit more before crushing him again. I wish the movie wasn't a musical, and I just wish more happened in the movie. It's a fairly uneventful movie. The two most exciting things that happen involve Harley Quinn starting a fire in the prison and Joker's followers blowing a hole in the courtroom. 1/3 of the movie takes place in Arthur's head, and the rest take place in a courtroom. It's the most bizarre movie ever. It feels like Todd Phillips hated the idea that the first movie was glorifying incels or something, and so he used the sequel to shit on those people. And in doing so, he shit on the entire Batman fan base. It feels like he did this to prove that he doesn't approve of them or something, that even if it would make for a more satisfying experience, never in a million years would he dream of making his Joker similar to the clever, intelligent, quick-witted, funny anarchist psychopath from the other movies and shows. I think it would have been fine to make that version of this Joker a facade, a mask, if you will, that Arthur Fleck kind of wears to make people like him. And it would have been really fun to see how he kind of transforms into that role over time, becoming less Arthur Fleck and more Joker. But I guess we'll never get that. This Joker is different. This Joker sucks. And nothing you fanboys will say will make him not suck. So take that. It's fine to show us a different take on the Joker, and he did that with the first movie, even though it just copied other movies, but there are still some clever things in there, like his laughing condition and stuff like that. It's just weird to make a pointless sequel that seemingly exists only to say, please don't find my first movie inspirational. Please don't. Please don't, God. Please. It's like Todd Phillips is trying to use this movie to convince his friends in Hollywood that he's not that weirdo that makes movies for freaks or something. Whatever, I obviously didn't like this movie very much. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
With this film in particular, you could have made like a softball, hit a home run, easy standard sequel, but it looks like you really wanted to challenge the audience and do something different. So what was your goal making the sequel?
Well, it was a little bit of that. You're right. Sequels sometimes can be a bit of a layup, but to be quite frank, you know, I don't know that Joaquin Phoenix would have signed up for a layup. You know, he really wants to. He always wants to be challenged. He wants to feel like this could be a fucking disaster, quite frankly, you know.
vrati. Gdje si, šta se radi?
Mikrofon sam isključio. Moja greška.
Da, ja rekao ne progovaram.
Ne, dva puta si pitao isto, ja razmišljam što mi pitao dva puta isto. I onda kao... Obično Bekat sluša šta se priča, znaš, kod mene u kući i onda strateški kad neko od ukućana dođe nešto da mi kaže, samo ugasi mikrofon. On ima varijante kad kao, čuo sam da, ne znam, koljete stoku, trebalo je vam pomoći. Ja rekao, ja tebe ništa nisam rekao. Onda sam skontao da bukvalno upali moj stream i ono, sluša šta priča. I onda kad god nešto moji kućani pričaju sa mnom, znači samo ugasim mikrofon i ono.
Pa jes.
Što u životu nisam nikad. Skupljam ove event poene. Imaš jedan od onih challenge-a ti da 12 puta uzmeš pledge na onim kolicima. Znači treba ti 12 lovaca bukvalno. Ja obično završim čitav event sa jednim lovcem do 2. Ako me ubiju, a nemam na primjer dead shit. A ako ne bavim dead shit, onda ni ne nosim onaj necromancer. Nema pojma.
Welcome to my channel.
Da.
A ovo što brže trčiš s ovim tretom, ovo je stvarno fantazija. A ono za noževe si u pravu. Bilo gdje da pogodiš s nožem, ubije. Kasu.
Da, eto ti je tu gore.
A, jebate nisam vidio. Ovo. Ako me vrčiš. Pre neki dan sam igrao quick play, lik je bio ovdje, učao. I ja protrčavam, pored njega sa sekirom u ruci, on brate mene promašuje 2 puta. Valjda misli ću ga prikoljeti. Promašuje me 2 puta shotgunom, ono, znači, na metar. I treći put sam ja uspio da ga sekirom mlatnem u glavu da ga ubijem, ali ono, treći put je dobio kill na mene. To je 4. midhead. Treba ti 6, ako imaš battle pass treba ti 6 midheada kao challenge. A ljudi kako sad nose bomblins, tako kad vide ovoga midheada, tako ga odmah automiziraju. Tako da ćeš naći živog midheada jedino u compoundu gdje nije niđe niko bio.
Pa da.
Oni idu po onaj freight. Freight, evo. Vjerojatno midhead opet mrtvo. A ja više nemam mjesta za freight, to džaba gledam ništa. Možda mi igra uopšte nije u full screenu.
Jel?
Igra mi je full screen window. To je kao ono borderless.
Da.
Jer ako stavim full screen, pali mi komad ekrana. Jedno šlajpno od jednog, ne znam, pola centimetra. Ne znam šta se zbagu, ali... Kažeš ti samo ovaj.
Ja, može. Pet midheada. Za vrat. Ome treba samo za lig. Šta igra LOL, jel?
Ali nije to samo kompjuter za ligu, jebi ga, treba ti procesor modern. Mislim, treba prejak, ali ono modern relativno. Treba ti 8 giga rama, ono minimum čini mi se. Neću da kažem 16, ajde možda nema svako para. Nije toliko skupe memorije, ali brat čini mi se, hoće minimum da potroši na računar. Jebi ga, ne moraš da kupiš mašinu ala Milan Belada. Stoji. Ali nešto pa ne moraš dati, jebi ga. Ejde, kurac. Kako ti ustaro ovako rano?
Pa šta znam. Ne mogu više ni spavati.
A nije te neko probudito sam?
Pa jes.
Zapravo jeste.
Neđe pre 20 minuta, pola sata. Pola sata.
Mm. Ba sam bio uletio između dvije ekipe, kako se kraju. Uletio, izletio. Nije mi se krljalo s njim. Dobro. A. Još jedan mitjut. Trojke, kao trojke. Gledao sam bio screenshot, jedan je kao 2 zvezdice, ima KD 2.0, 2.05. Evo mu kažu,
A,
brate,
nov igrač.
mađe nov, ima 5 miliona bounty. Ja imam 3 miliona skoro bounty. Čekaj, 5 miliona bounty. Ima 5000 duos white. 2.05 KD. Evo mu kažu, brother, kaže, brate, ti nisi 2 zvezdice. Znači, rank sistem im nema veze. Znači, s mozgom. Unknown player. Kaže, ne, nikoj popuste, nemoj veze. Udarili su popust na kao Battle Pass. Da, kaže, nikad nije koštao toliko. Ti si skupio za onaj najjeftiniji.
Nisam još,
Onaj
ali
1000
sad
nisi.
ću skupiti, da.
Imaš... A da, zapravo, koji je najlakši challenge ti što su stavili novih? Da pokupiš... Ne znam koliko
Da,
bounty.
skupio sam ono headshotovi. Šta sam još skupio?
Imaš s bombalansom da dilaš ne znam koliko damage. A to možeš i da uzmeš onu municiju, one granate, one frag bombe. I onda da pucaš među masu. Balansiraš među, čim više se krvi ljudi. Plasiraš im frag. Odmah. 2 izlaza kod Alan Sun and Fish, 1 izlaz na Catfishu. Boss je na Catfishu. Mogu da se pledžujem i izađem s mapu, pošto bounty neće stati 2 minuta. Ima da se kupi Shadow za 1 jedini poen. Nisam znao da ovo može.
In December of 1996 in Boulder, Colorado, JonBenet Patricia Ramsey was murdered. Her body was found in the basement of their house. She was 6 years old. To this day, it is unknown exactly who killed her. The Boulder police initially suspected the parents of staging the murder. The district attorney later concluded that there was insufficient evidence to pursue an indictment. In 2003, trace amounts of blood was found on JonBenet's clothes, and after further examination, it was found that the DNA did not match either of the parents, and instead belonged to an unknown male. There was a handwritten ransom note found by the mother on the kitchen staircase. According to a report by the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, there were indications that the mother had written the note. Later, certified handwriting experts that were cited by the federal court ruled it highly unlikely that the mother wrote it. The police were baffled by the length of the note, and stated that it was very strange for a ransom note to be written at the scene of the crime. Apparently, the note was written on a piece of paper that was taken from the mother's desk. The strangest part of this letter is how it ends. What exactly does Victory SBTC stand for? And why would the perpetrator want to sign it in such a way? Especially if it could possibly lead to their arrest. And what's even stranger is that nobody has ever been convicted of the crime despite this. The meaning of the acronym has been widely disputed, but a popular belief is that it stands for Saved by the Cross. And the victory could mean victory over Satan. There are some journalists and other people out there that believe it could be a reference to Subic Bay Training Center, which was once a naval base. And while the father was there from 1968 to 1969, and while there may have been a training center there, as far as I can tell, Subic Bay never used SBTC as an acronym, so that theory is widely disregarded. The ransom note demanded a strangely specific sum of money, that being $118,000. But why? The father had said that the amount coincided with how much he earned for the prior year's Christmas bonus. Some had also theorized that the number referenced Psalm 118 from the Bible. The first verse of Psalm 118 reads, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever." And it continues on like that, thanking God for a multitude of different reasons for 29 verses. According to Osgood Perkins, the sole writer and director of Longlegs, the movie was inspired by and very loosely based on this case.
The murder took place approaching Christmas, and one present that the parents had gotten for John Bennett was a life-size replica doll of herself, wearing one of her pageant dresses, he explains. It was in a cardboard box in the basement, 15 feet from where she was killed, and there was something so insane about that, I cataloged it away.
I don't care what they're being paid. Neon's marketing department needs a substantial raise. There isn't another movie I can think of that was marketed nearly as well as Longlegs.
Holy Jesus. What is that?
Neon's marketing team figuratively filled the air with intrigue, never giving too much away, but showing just enough for people to hunger for more.
Please, sir, I want some more.
Carrot on a stick? Ha! Think more like coconut shrimp on a stick. I like coconut shrimp. Yummy! They presented the public with numerous mysterious trailers, posts on Instagram of a red phone number over black on a billboard, and if you called this number, you would hear the chilling voice of Nicolas Cage as Longlegs on the other end.
Little angel. Happy birthday to you.
Neon also posted newspaper ads on their Instagram with the strange encrypted language from the movie. They even created a fake blog post, thebirthdaymurders.net, which displays a basic website from the 1990s, describing the serial killer Longlegs and their crimes. They also posted a video that showed Micah Monroe from the movie, except they recorded her heartbeat, and this was the first time she ever saw Nicolas Cage in makeup, and her heartbeat climbed like crazy. Which only increased the public's curiosity. She was face to face with the enigmatic antagonist Longlegs, a character that they showed just enough to the audience to intrigue them, but not enough to spoil anything. All of this combined with their constant barrage of advertisements claiming that this was the best horror movie made in years, displaying a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, 5 out of 5 scores from numerous publications, and quotes like, "the most terrifying horror movie of 2024, or "a modern Silence of the Lambs," and "the best horror film of the year." People were waiting with bated breath to jump into seats. People all over the world were talking about this movie on social media, which only made the masses want to see the movie more. And then it came out. Tickets sold like hotcakes. For an R-rated movie that cost $10 million to make, promotion included, this movie exploded in the box office, making more than double its cost on opening weekend.
What the fuck is that?
What's the matter? My legs get thicker as they go down. I don't see a problem with it. This video is brought to you by Manscaped. You may have noticed something about me. What has changed? Why, of course, dear viewer. My beautiful face has been shaved. And you might be wondering, how did he do it? How does it look so wonderful? Well, I'll tell you. Manscaped. Thank you so much, Manscaped, for sponsoring this video. Look at all the goodies we have here. Just listen to that hum. Now that's nice. Level up your grooming game with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, which includes the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This is incredible for beard trimming or making yourself look immaculate where it counts. You know what I'm talking about. You'll also get their Crop Soother, a ball aftershave lotion. You know how annoying it is when you shave down there and it gets all irritated? Not anymore. Those days are over. And of course it can't just look good down there, you gotta make it smell good too with the Crop Preserver. It's ball deodorant, my dudes. Make your package smell great. Do you have extra long nose hairs or ear hairs? Then they got you covered there too. Not only that, they'll send you some boxer briefs. Look how amazing these are. They're nice and silky and stretchy. And they're cool to the touch. Let's just say after using their products, not only will your shaft and dangly bits thank you, but so will the ladies. So click the link below and get your hands on a Performance Package 5.0 today. When you use my promo code ELVIS, you'll get 20% off your order, plus free international shipping. Thank you so much, Manscaped, for sponsoring this video. Now back to the review. There was an interview with Nicolas Cage conducted by the channel Extra TV, and during this interview, the interviewer starts off the interview by saying he's terrified of Nick Cage.
And I have to say, I'm terrified just standing here talking to you right now.
And Nick responds, "Thanks, I guess."
Well, thank you, I guess.
Nick then goes on to clarify that it's just a character.
It's a character.
As if we needed further clarification.
I will not delay. Marcus has gone missing. As you know, he arrived Thursday evening. The enemy and very evening. Alright.
Ahir Bear. Welcome to my channel.
Oh. Hello, good morning. Good day. Life is just like a little prayer. Nope. Whatever.
Nema ostalih, nema.
Ne znam, nema. Ne znam gdje su. To je to, 6 mithida. Šta još ima? Šta? Mithid je sam sebe ubio. Sam sebe ubio. Ne mogu da verujem. Jo.
Alo?
Alo?
Aj zovi Nenada, mada i Makić ti je kući. Pa vidi koga ćeš. Jesi montirao 12-ku, nisi? Pa koliko je kod Đurđevaca 12?
Of that.
Thank you very much, sir.
Like as if we were
nije
confused
ni
that
malo,
Nicolas Cage
evo.
himself might be an actual serial killer. Around 30 seconds into the interview, the camera zooms in on Nick Cage's lip, which is kind of weird. Nick then talks about how Oz Perkins and himself both had their mothers in mind when they made this movie. So that's strange. Nick Cage does go on to explain in an interview with Associated Press that his mother suffered from a mental disorder.
But she was certainly touched, sadly, with a mental illness.
And he used the character to tap into how she may have struggled with this. Obviously, I don't think Nick Cage's mother is like Longlegs from this movie. I don't think anybody does. Well, to be fair, I don't know much about Nick Cage's mother. Apparently, this will be the last time we see Nick Cage play a serial killer. Which is kind of disappointing.
I'm not trying to complain or anything.
Because I think he plays wacky, weird roles like that really well. In an interview with IndieWire, Cage said this: "I know the phone's gonna be ringing off the hook to play serial killers after Longlegs, and that's not really what I like to do. I don't like violence. I don't want to play people who are hurting people. I think there's a secret caveat there that if they pay enough, he'll do it. So you heard that, Hollywood. If you want him to play roles like this, you better pay up." Show me the money! Also, according to Oz Perkins, Nicolas Cage has this weird auditory superpower when it comes to his voice and leveling. Perkins had said, "The sound guy came over to me one day. He comes up to me a couple of days into Nick being on set, and he's like, 'Oz, I've never seen anything like it.'"
When Nick goes big, he goes right to the line. It's like anything more, a decibel or two over that would clip, and it would be hard to use. When he goes big and he yells and he's crazy, he goes right to the line. And then when he goes down, he goes soft and he's whispering and he's barely talking, he goes right to the line. He's like, anything past that line, you wouldn't be able to use it, but he knows where the lines are. And I was like, man, that's nuts. He's like, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
How does he
Does he do that?
Ja ću piču koju sredo ima dok dođe treći. Pa i Nenad ti je kući, a i Makić kojega prije dobiješ. Ja će doći sigurno. G-Skill 3 dan Z5, šta ti je ovo?
Dobro već. Dobro već.
Mister Borisović.
Da naučimo. I know. Jesam Bog.
Raiden Z.
Oj, Milane, da ti to nama nisi objasnio, ja bi bio u zabludi, znaš. I know. Sjajno. Priznajemo ti da smo se priznali.
Jeste mu priznali?
Priznao sam da sam priznao. Rekao, koliko je to Absolutely wrong.
A nema šta, Nenad ti je kući. Nenad ti je kući, 100%. A jes bre, šta? On ti ne ide nići.
Kuj bre? Kuj bre će da ideš da požareva? Kuj bre?
Ti imaš dobre informacije.
Moljina?
Pa da.
Ja da je moguće.
Evo, priznaj.
Znači, priznao si.
Bogo mi neću ništa da nabijam. Ništa ne dobijam i ništa ne nabijam. Razumeš?
Hoćeš koga da nabijem?
Ma Milan nabijam, ne molim me. Nešto nabiva memory.
U čemu to nabivanje?
Ne znam.
A takmičenja? Opet?
Merenje kursa.
Opet?
prave infumi za Kingston ne iščitava temperaturu memorija za disk ili nije iščitavao. Da, znači za disk ili je iščitavalo, a za Kingston ne vidio. To je duplo veji. Arzerin.
Da kaže, upožareo se.
Ja jako ne volim što meni sad nekim stranima ovim diskilom. Da, 36 mogu. Znači, ja jako ne volim što mi ne iščitava tu temperaturu. Uopšte ne volim.
Koji problem?
Uopšte ne volim što mi ne piše brat. Prijatno. Ne volim. Jako ne volim.
Makić spava, garam.
Kako što ovaj upožarevac, ne? Oh. Je zmija nogi da ti kažem, ne Milijan ovaj kamion. Ili je bio na kolačima s ovdje, vidiš po svima.
Kod koga?
Tako znate iz dobrog njegovog.
Visočanstvo.
Pa prečasno
Kralja Overclocka, premastera. Ko sam hodam, zemlju ne dodirujem.
Prepodobni velečasnik.
Belozubi. Onaj sa mnogo titula. Nedojebivi 6 zvezdica.
IQ majster, Beast majster, Overclock majster.
6 zvezdica, žmureć, da.
Fejma majster.
Majstor svega i svačega. Znamo li mi tu osobu? Nemoguće da postoji jedna osoba koja sve to radi.
Treba ti piše, bre, dale, kao što ti piše na prosto, treba i za memoriju. pička se okere mater. Pička se okere mater.
Do it, people. Oz Perkins was asked what was the first word that comes to mind when he thinks of Nicolas Cage, and he says huge. Huge. I know he probably meant huge in the bigger than life sense, but let's be honest. He was talking about his enormous height. Nick Cage is very tall. That being said, I would have liked it if they made his legs a little longer. I'm not sure how they would have done that, but somehow give him this like strange, uncanny, off-putting proportions, even if it was through the use of heels, because they didn't do that in this movie. How dare they make a horror movie called Longlegs, starring Nicolas Cage as the villain, without giving him unsettlingly long legs? This is kind of what I was imagining when I first heard of this movie, but I understand the need to make the character more grounded in reality, although this movie does have some supernatural elements, so I don't know why they couldn't lean into that a little bit more. The movie starts with a rounded corner box aspect ratio. The movie treats the audience like a child looking through a Viewmaster. We hear muffled and distant mumblings of Longlegs in the background. We're then shown lyrics to a song named Get It On by the band T-Rex, and they read, "Well, you're slim and you're weak. You've got the teeth of a hydra upon you. You're dirty sweet and you're my girl." The original meaning of these lyrics is fairly obvious. They describe a woman someone is fond of, and this woman has clashing traits. Longlegs is twisting the interpretation of these lyrics, but not changing the words. The top comment on a lyric video for this song on YouTube mentions Longlegs, so I'm definitely not the first person to try and find some deeper meaning to this. We'll return to these lyrics at the very end of this video. We join the titular character in their car as they drive up to a house. Upon seeing the car outside, a young girl exits the house to greet them. Before doing so, she puts on a red jacket, and it's such a wonderful and aesthetically pleasing use of contrasting colors. Her bright red jacket against the white blanket of snow complement each other so well. Oz Perkins is great with color, camera angles, and lighting to create a desired tone. He manages to create such a beautifully eerie atmosphere by combining all these elements. Anyone who has seen his underrated movie Gretel and Hansel can attest to this.
I'm called Gretel, and this rough one here is my brother Hansel.
I unabashedly love that movie, to be honest. Longlegs says to the girl, the iconic, "It seems I wore my long legs today. What happens if I," before dropping to their knees to get down to the young girl's level. Title card. And the song Jewel by T-Rex plays as the intro credits roll. You might be wondering why Oz Perkins decided to use the band T-Rex in this movie. Like, why that band specifically? Especially seeing how this movie is littered with mystery. Oz Perkins had told Rolling Stone the following: if the left hand is playing the plot, the right hand is playing the spirit. The right hand is playing the art, the mystery, the wonder, the curiosity, the beauty, the glamour. So I'd say that the T-Rex stuff had nothing to do with the plot, but everything to do with the vibe. Honestly, I respect that. Not everything has to have a deeper meaning. Sometimes creating art is exactly that, combining different things until it feels right. During the red saturated intro credits, there are some don't blink or you'll miss them single frame images of crime scenes and characters from the movie flashed on screen. Let me be a gentleman and show the
We must not murder.
Much more than people label you, Pothead. Today you prove that.
Understood.
You can't stop me.
Dude, I've got 3 headshots on this guy.
them to you here, so you can see them clearly, even though you'll see them later in the movie. Well, most of them anyway. You're welcome! The movie follows Agent Lee Harker, a young FBI agent played by Micah Monroe. She has semi-latent psychic abilities, and as you would likely be able to guess, during the movie she tries to uncover the mysteries surrounding the serial killer Longlegs. During a meeting at the very beginning of the movie, she stares forebodingly over at her partner, who she knows will face a terrible fate, but she doesn't know exactly when, how, or why. She just has a bad feeling about him. Might I also add that this man has an impressively angular face.
Oh yeah.
Giving Ewan Mitchell, or Aemon Targaryen, a run for his money. Later in the suburbs, Harker's spidey senses tingle when they're near a specific house. She suspects that it contains the perpetrator they're searching for.
He's in there.
Her partner knocks on the door and is instantly shot dead. Harker has colossal balls of titanium.
Just like
So she walks in this mostly empty house covered in plastic with her gun drawn and finds a man sitting on his bed with his hands up. No idea why he killed Aemon Targaryen's brother, but decided not to kill her. Perhaps he only had 1 bullet. Also, why did he answer the door in the first place? You'd think that would be the last thing he would do. Perhaps he simply didn't know Harker was there. In which case, I think it would have been better if she caught him gathering a bucket of
Nekako sam sprečen, da ti kažem. Sam sprečen, malo zalečen. Joj, krsta mi, joj. Krstića mi, joj. Jeli? Moj! Ale misliš da te konzerviraju u ovom stanju na sledeći 3? Aha. Ja 36. Da. Tad sam bio najjači, najbolji, najlepši i radio sam šta sam trebao. 36. Kažem ti, no 36. Što sam bolji, lepši, pametniji, jači, sve je bio sa 36. U stvari sa 39. Sa 39. Malo. Captain Lashy. Funny. Vrpelo me u kanalu, ali s obzirom da sam ja sklon pesku i kamenju, to sam vjerovatno izbacivao neke govne. Nije. Boga mi nije. Boga mi nije. Čuti bre, sad, sad me već boli kurac dok mi pričaš to, ajde, tišina je. Svaki duša. Jesi ti moja duša poremećena? Mala poremećena duša. To ništa ne sluša. Je. Jesi ti moj mali poremeć. Znači tako, Milane, a? Guro si gdje ne treba, a? Kažeš, nema gdje nisi guro. Meni se desilo 2007. Znači sad ću umreti od smeka. Desilo. Ovo je bilo leto. Ne, slušaj, bilo leto. Imao sam tada ribu s kojom sam bio 7-8 meseci, znači seksali se svaki dan, ništa, i izašli na neki splav. Ja se unakazio, pio Jägermeister i Beck's pivo, znači seko, znači upropastio se, znaš šta znači upropastio se. I došli kod mene, negde oko 4:30 ujutru, seksali se, ja zaspo tu 2 sata i jedva ustao za posao i otišao na posao, to jest u Bos. Da. Radio tu na Zensku, u Borči, i otišao na posao, a bilo 50 stepeni, znači nerealno topao taj jug bio. Da, i što je najluđe, u celoj toj priči kako sam pijan došao, seksali se, nisam se ni istuširao ni oprao posle toga. I kažem ti, pretoplo bilo neko govno. Znači ja sam došao na posao, prvo što sam htio da umrem koliko sam mamoran bio, znači nisam mogu, znači ja sam sastavio za 2,5 sata vozačima šta je trebalo, putne naloge, troškove je stavio u kovert i rekao sam sekretarici, rekao ja idem, znači ja da umrem, znači ja ne znam da li sam na granici da povraćam ili da umrem, znači znaš koliko mi je loše bilo. Međutim, oko 10, pola 11 krene da me tako svrbi kita da sam teo da umrem, I došao ja kući, istuširao se, legao, međutim, ono se ne smiruje 2-3 dana. I treći dan, jebote, kad zaguliš kožicu, ono po koži i po glaviću, ko skalperom neko po 2 milimetra da me recimo, onako, ranice. Ja se usro, brate, mili, odem i kod kožnog i kod onog venerologa i svega. I uzmu mi bris i kao, aj smiri se, ja im ispričam šta je bilo, kaže, problem je što se nisi oprao i leto, pretoplo i te neke bakterije ostale, znaš. I za tih 4-5 sati dok se ja nisam istuširao, se to zapatilo i razmnožilo, Pa idi bre, ja ovu ružicu iznapušavao, najcrnje jebo se mi sve po spisku, žena ni krivo ni dužna, znači... Nemaš predstavu šta sam mi sve rekao. Slušam. Ajde, u kuhinji sam, čujem te. I? I ga odjelo lepo, a? A to je sjajno! Da. Ej, idem samo do prodavnice, radim od 12. Moram obavim nešto. Daj, tu si za 15 minuta.
Gdje ste momci, šta se radi?
O, Boris Makić. Jo! Otkud ti je ovako rano, Makić?
Ne radim danas, sutra uzam godišnji.
O.
Treba da sređujem nešto dvorište oko kuće. Pogledajte ovu Milanovu skalameriju.
Misliš one gluposti što je neka rekao na kući, što je okolo, naokolo?
Ma da.
A neću komentariš. Apsolutno neće.
Pa ubret.
Water and bleach, or gathering snakes to escape instead of just sitting on his bed and giving up. Harker is told by her superiors that Longlegs doesn't leave behind any trace that he was there at his crime scenes.
But according to physical evidence, he never is.
Yet later in the film, he's seen parking at crime scenes, entering homes without gloves on, and unless he didn't touch anything, which is hard to do if you're opening doors and stuff, there's a high likelihood he would definitely leave some sort of trace. Unless, of course, the Harker household is the one and only time he parked there with his own car and decided not to wear gloves. In the next scene, we see Harker being questioned while a projector flashes images in front of her. Think Blade Runner 2049's baseline test, but for psychics. We learn later that Harker managed to guess 8 out of 16 random numbers accurately.
You beat that numbers generator 8 times.
Between 0 and 100. So according to this test, her psychic abilities are around 50% accurate. After this, Harker's boss, Agent Carter, tasks her with solving the mystifying Longlegs case. He tells her that there are coded messages left behind at the scene of every crime.
We have 10 letters like it.
Each one signed Longlegs.
All signed with one word. Longlegs.
Agent Carter suspects that there's something that's making seemingly normal men brutally kill their families, but he can't be sure what it could be. Whatever it is, Longlegs is behind it. All of the victims have daughters that have birthdays that always land on the 14th of any given month.
Birthdays are on the 14th of any given month.
Strangely, we find out that Harker's birthday also lands on the 14th, but she doesn't bring this up until Carter does, much later into the movie.
That makes your birthday the 14th.
Agent Carter tells Harker that her mother called in a report of a trespasser when Harker was a child.
Give a description of a trespasser. Tall and pale.
When the scene with the trespasser is shown, you see her mother notice the trespasser and attempt to make a phone call, but there's no service. And after trying a couple times, she hangs up. I guess Agent Carter was lying.
You're a damn liar, man.
So Harker gets to work. She listens to the recording of a 911 call from the father of one of these crimes. He appears to be in a sort of trance.
That's not my daughter.
And it seems as though he believes his daughter is an imposter of sorts. And he believes he has to kill her. He's mostly speaking to himself and says that he has to do it while she's sleeping.
When she's sleeping, it's the best time to do it.
Why he called 911 in the first place doesn't make much sense to me. Was he afraid for his safety from his young daughter? Did he believe that she was possessed by a demon or something? Did a part of him want the police to stop him from committing the crime? There is some pretty cool imagery used during this part. Music swells as we see many crime photos, and then we see bubbling bloody water after an image of a victim in a bathtub. The book, The Golden Bough, A Study in Magic and Religion by J.G. Fraser, is being read by Longlegs in this scene. This is a 12-volume series of anthropological texts on the observations of mythical and religious practices, taboos, and ceremonies from around the world. It's a cool little Easter egg, I guess. We learn that Harker is severely socially awkward in a scene where Agent Carter forces her to have dinner with his family. This scene was painfully relatable. It brought back so many social-related horror stories from my own life. Also, upon my first viewing, I knew instantly that something horrible was going to happen to this family at some point throughout the movie. It's not exactly subtle given what we've been shown and told so far about the crimes. While Harker might suffer from social anxiety, we've already established that she has balls of steel.
Your balls are getting bigger!
Later that night, at her home, a person knocks on her door. And she didn't order any Grubhub. She notices someone outside, so she rushes out there with her pistol in hand. She then notices that they somehow slipped past her, and they're now inside her home. She rushes inside and finds an encrypted Longlegs note on her desk, and he was kind enough to give her a clue on how to decrypt it. Longlegs gave her, an FBI agent, that could use this clue to more easily track them down. A decryption key? Longlegs probably wanted them to be able to decrypt the messages, because why leave them if nobody could ever read them? He must have been getting real bored of the other FBI agents continuing to be too stupid to hire a cryptologist to decrypt his messages. Whoever was working this case before Harker must have been the disfigured giant from the Goonies. or someone of that same caliber. Also, for some reason,
low
Harker
on
never has the
fuel. I'm not
FBI
ready
search her place for prints after this. Many of Longleg's encrypted messages contain misspellings and poor grammar after being decoded. According to IMDb, this is an homage to the Zodiac Killer, who was also known for his coded messages containing typos, which often made it more difficult to decode his messages. Also, Longlegs quotes the poem Satan Says by Sharon Olds.
I'm locked in a little cedar box with a picture of shepherds pasted onto the central panel between carvings. The box stands on curved legs. It has a gold, heart-shaped lock and no key. I am trying to write my way out of the closed box redolent of cedar. Satan comes to me in the locked box and says, I'll get you out. Say my father is a ship. I say my father is a ship, and Satan laughs and says, it's opening. Say your mother is a candle. My mother is a candle. Something opens and breaks.
I must wait.
The decrypted message that Longlegs leaves for Harker reads as follows. Tell them how you got this, how it came into your head. I'll cut off her hanging milk tits and bleed your mommy dead. Her hanging milk what? This movie can't be real.
Ready yet.
Harker continues her research on the murders and looks up old newspaper articles. One of them in particular stood out to me. Check out the bottom leftmost line. It reads, Path fourth tree. Today's fifth subdue are called.
Vidim da je u igrici.
What does that mean?
RNG.
That's the biggest mystery in the movie. The dates of specific crimes line up in an algorithm created by Longlegs, and when the dates are connected, it forms a satanic inverted triangle. If you're 555, then I'm... Harker and Carter search a barn connected by one of Longlegs' murders. They discover a doll with a strange hollow metal ball in its head that emits an odd frequency when a device is held up to it.
Listen.
I'm not ready
A
yet.
jesi ovo u kanal, gdje si ti?
In the next scene, Longlegs visits a convenience store, and the girl at the counter calls her dad because the creepy dude is back.
Daddy! That gross guy is back again!
And it's implied that this has happened before, and this is a convenience store that Longlegs frequents.
What day is your birthday, little angel?
I must wait.
On the drive back, Longlegs screams this in his car.
Daddy! Mommy! Oh, make me!
I'm not ready yet.
And save me from the hell of living!
Nick Cage had said that he tried to evoke a sort of empathy in the psychotic mind of the character.
It was more than that for me. I tried to find what was emotional, what drove this character insane. Can I find empathy in the character and compassion, even though he's doing these incredibly horrible things? It's not him per se, it's the voices, you know.
This could be signifying to the audience that Longlegs had likely been treated poorly by people for a long time. Perhaps he never had parents that protected him when he was younger. Mocking the girl yelling for her dad could be rooted in his own pain and suffering. Harker then visits a patient named Carrie Ann Camera. Kind of a weird last name. Hey guys, my name is Rosemary Refrigerator. Carrie Ann resides at a mental hospital. She had survived one of the murder sprees because she just happened to be elsewhere when it occurred. Longlegs had visited her not long before Harker did, but we never see this happen. And Carrie Ann appears to have been brainwashed somehow by him. Kiernan Shipka does a pretty great job in this scene. I love the writing for her dialogue.
Like if he told me to take a jumpy out a window, I surely do. Just happy as peaches to watch the ground as it come up to meet me.
Ovo Nenad igra Throne and Liberty.
Dirty old angel bitch.
Da. A ne zove. Nije, piše pozdravite vašu mamu, Throne and Liberty igra.
A možda ja sam
where he makes dolls. Candles are
to je
lit. A
moguće,
T-Rex album cover hangs on the wall next to 3 images of what appear to be nude women. The pictures of women on his wall make me think of 2 possibilities. One, that he just thinks they're beautiful, like any other person. Or 2, he paid for cheap plastic surgery over the years to try and achieve a similar type of beauty, but of course failed miserably, only making his painful existence all the worse. I mean, just look at him. Throughout the movie, it seems as though Harker's relationship with her mother is relatively normal. She speaks to her pleasantly over the phone, and then visits her in a scene later on. We learn that her mother is very religious, and continuously asks her if she is saying her prayers.
Znači neka bolest.
Still say your prayers? Are you still saying your prayers?
The prayers were probably satanic, which is why Harker tells her mother that they scare her.
They scare
When visiting her mother's house, it's apparent that there's something off about her. Her mind is working slower. She sways back and forth. She repeats words over and over. And laughs maniacally when Harker tells her that she never said a single prayer.
Fina djelatnost neka to je. Palit tuđu imovinu. Palit tuđu imovinu. Oh, kako bi ja to sve kod Peranovića, brate, našao jebama. Uf. Ko je Peranović? Ne znaš ko je Peranović? Ovo čekaj, ovdje se ono trenutno na službenom putu. Majka Janja, bato. Šta je taj narkomana i kleptomana izlečio?
Signifying that Harker can sense the devil's
Ko?
work.
Amo nema gdje drugo nego ono tamo,
According to
brate.
what I found online, an ancient serpent is used to identify
A nema,
Satan
vidi,
and
tamo
Lilith
ti niko
in the
nije
New
pod
Testament.
prisilom bio, svi su došli dobrovoljno, potpisali da su došli dobrovoljno i zdravo.
That ere the snakes, her sweet tongue could deceive, and her enchanted hair was the first gold. And still she sits, young while the earth is young, and subtly of herself contemplative, draws men to watch the bright web she can weave, till her body and life are in its power.
So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old,
Yes,
called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast down to the earth, and his angels were cast down with him.
Harker learns that
Zamisli
she
ti,
took a picture of
imaš
Longlegs when she
to,
was younger.
kako da kažem, aj mogu reći to crkveno dobro i sve, i tu se leče narkomani, alkoholičari, ovisnici, sve, i ti odeš kući i doneseš drogu ostalim ovim tu što se leče. Stvarno, a njegovi roditelji su par puta dolazili, on je već teo da ga izbaci odatle. Dolazili i molili kao da ga ne izbaci.
And nobody knew this. I guess she didn't visit home often. What the hell? We're shown an interrogation tape of Longlegs.
Ne, čekaj, druže, ako ti hoćeš da se lečiš, jesi došao da se lečiš, jesi došao da zebaš roditelji mene ovdje. Ako nećeš da se lečiš, druže, doviđenja, jebote. Nema te sile ko nema volju da se izleči. Ti imaš ljude koji imaju volju da se izleči, ali jednostavno nema snage, kako da kažem, ne možeš sam. Treba mu pomoć. Takvim ljudima treba pomoći. A neko zarad mira u kući da bi smirio roditelj, ovo idem ja malo kao navodno na lečenje.
We find out that their name is Dale Ferdinand Cobble.
State your name for the camera.
Dale Ferdinand Cobble.
Apparently in this movie there's an agent Kurt Cobble, played by Scott Nicholson. So, are they related somehow? Kind of a strange last name to repeat. And I don't think this agent Kurt Cobble is ever referred to in the movie. Harker knows that the Triangle of Satan still needs one more death to be completed, and it'll happen soon. So she questions Longlegs to get answers. This scene between them is awesome. Nicolas Cage is wonderful, like always. Even though he mainly just looks like a pale, botched plastic surgery victim, he still manages to make himself creepy as hell.
I'm not ready yet.
Knock, knock on the farmhouse door.
I think it's kind of weird that they gave him good teeth. Like, why they mess up the rest of his face, but his teeth are, like, perfectly fine and straight. When the interview ends, he suddenly kills himself by smashing the ever-living shit out of his own head on the table in front of him, after saying, "Hail Satan." I was honestly so taken aback by this when I first saw the movie because it's so unexpected. It's so jarring and frightening.
Yeah, that was the scene that really that was a big scene. I don't believe in the big scene. I try to get away from that thought, but when I read the pages, like, this is going on, and this is going on, and what are we going to do with all this? How am I going to graph this out so it's not repetitious? How am I going to, and then that's when the things like this. The moving like this. I mean, I put all that on video on my little iPhone, and I just recorded myself in Vancouver rehearsing it and trying to find different, because you're stuck in a chair. So what can I do in the chair that's going to give it some movement?
Before dying, Longlegs had told Harker to ask her mother for answers. Harker and Agent Browning visit her mother's place to bring her in for questioning. Her mother blows Browning's brains out with a double-barrel shotgun. It's a genuinely unnerving scene. They show her approaching the vehicle from behind. We find out that a doll of Harker had been made, and her mother brings it outside to blow its head off. Harker reaches toward her head in agony as an odd smoke emerges from her. She collapses, and that same smoke can be seen from the destroyed doll's head. These specific dolls have devil magic imbued into them via the hollow metal balls inside their heads, and Longlegs was merely the devil's hand. The dolls have a sort of spiritual link to the people they're based on, sort of like a voodoo doll. In this way, the dolls can be used via the devil to shape what they can remember, but it also provides Harker with an odd psychic gift. I'm not positive that the metal ball or the doll is what gave Harker her gifts. It's just the only real connection I can make, aside from one thing that I'll be mentioning later. When her mother destroyed the metal ball in the doll's head, it returned Harker's memories. We learn that Harker's mother was forced to help Longlegs and the devil, or else they would kill her daughter. She was used as a delivery service for the dolls. She would bring them to the families that Satan wanted as a sacrifice. As the devil worked its magic in the shadows, Harker then receives a call from, I guess, Satan? That being Agent Carter's daughter's birthday.
My beautiful wife, Anna, and our daughter, Miss Ruby.
How in the hell didn't Agent Carter think of his own daughter if her birthday landed on the same day that the final birthday murder was meant to take place? Brother, how?
January 13th, 1974. That's one day before your 9th birthday. That makes your birthday the 14th.
Are you kidding me?
Why didn't he mention that his daughter's birthday landed on this exact date? He mentioned this to no one. If it was my daughter, I would have her locked in a padded cell until the next day.
Da, ali
Longlegs' car is found
mnogo
at
stvari
Harker's
ne
mom's
radi u
place.
igri
So she
trenutno.
takes this car to Agent
Prva
Carter's
je,
house,
ona je,
where
rekao
the
sam
final
ti,
scene
onaj
of the
trade
movie
koji ne radi. A posle hitreg, pa serveri, pa, znaš. A taj skin je nebit. Na kraju krajeva ne moraš da ga kupiš.
Takes place. You see that ornament hanging from the rear view mirror? It's a bottle opener in the shape of the zodiac sign Capricorn. This is the zodiac sign for those born from December 22nd to January 19th. This range includes Harker, who was born on January 14th. So pretty interesting. Pretty cute. When she arrives and Agent Carter closes the door behind her, we get a glimpse of Satan in the reflection of the glass on the door. Very spooky. Harker arrived too late. Satan had already dug its claws into the family. We have to assume that by this point, Harker's mother has been completely inculcated by the devil, to the point of being completely controlled by it without her realizing it. Her shooting the head of Harker's doll was her final stand against the devil's power before giving in entirely to its will.
The woman is already dead, and the little girl.
This final scene is odd because Harker arrives and the family is truly gonzo at this point, and she knows this. It's clear as day what's about to happen.
Carter, that's my mom. She's the accomplice. She's Cobble's accomplice.
But Harker stands there paralyzed when Agent Carter all but says he's gonna murder his own wife in the kitchen. It's heavily implied.
So sorry, I'll be right back.
No, I'll be right back. You'll still be in the kitchen.
I do kind of understand why Harker would fail to act right away. Agent Carter is someone she knew very well, so she's in an incredibly uncomfortable situation right now. I think most people would be paralyzed with indecision in her circumstance, especially with their own mother in the room rambling insanely. She stands there even as she hears Carter's wife being stabbed to death in the other room. She ends up killing Carter and her own mother to save the child. Harker attempts to shoot the head of the doll in the room, but she's out of bullets. The movie ends with Longlegs saying, "Hail Satan," and blowing the audience a kiss. The song that plays during the credits is the same song that was referenced in the intro, which was Get It On by T-Rex. It plays as the credits scroll down instead of up, like they would traditionally. You know, because the credits are going down to hell, dude. Also, according to IMDb, Oz Perkins thought of only 2 two actors to play Longlegs, Nicolas Cage and Brad Pitt.
Znam ja šta
Yeah,
bi
he's
ti bi da to
lucky
neko
Cage
nosi.
said yes. This
Da
is the
može da
second
te
time
diže.
Neon worked with Nicolas Cage. The first time was with the movie Pig. That's 2 for 2. They need to work together more. I like this movie a lot. A decoded birthday card in the film reads, stood upon the sands of the sea.
And I'll do it until I stand upon the sand of the sea, and I see a beast rise up out of the sea.
This is a reference to Revelation 13:1 from the Bible. It reads, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." So who was Harker's biological father? He's never once mentioned in the movie.
Nije mogao da pobegne, jer ga izađe na.
Some could argue that Longlegs was a sort of unconventional and tenebrous father figure to Harker, but another theory I'd like to share is that there simply was no father. There never was. And Harker is, in a sense, the opposite of Jesus, the devil's daughter. Instead of immaculate conception, think soiled conception. Also, later on in the movie, we get a flashback of young Lee Harker, and there's a school project report poster about the life cycle of a butterfly. This could represent a plan to one day unleash Harker onto the world once Longlegs is dead. This could be telling us that Harker is the Antichrist, but she has to kind of blossom into that role.
I knew then that the work we were doing was immaculate.
That brings us back to the lyrics from the beginning of the movie. Well, you're slim and you're weak. You've got the teeth of a hydra upon you. You're dirty sweet, and you're my girl.
I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark. Because you are the dark. Hail Satan.
I'm not ready yet. I must wait.
Op, 3 čeka, northeast. Spržio mi malo u kocku.
I'm not ready yet.
Northeast, Ritz.
Dark humor, also known as black comedy. It's a style of comedy that makes light of subject matter that is generally considered taboo, particularly subjects that are normally considered serious or painful to discuss. No, we're not talking about those people on Twitter or Instagram Reels who type a slur, think it's the funniest thing in the world, and then justify it by saying, "What, you can't handle dark humor, bro?" No, today we're talking about real dark humor. Actually, one of the best instances of dark humor in all of South Park. Parts of this episode are so shocking that you might actually feel bad for laughing at them. If that isn't dark humor, then I don't know what is. It's not the Woodland Christmas Critters or Scott Tenorman Must Die. Okay, why am I trying to make this all mysterious? Like, you guys have already seen the thumbnail. Yep, today we'll be exploring Season 11's episode, Cartman Sucks. You know, Season 11 is actually one of the best seasons in the entire show. I'm actually gonna make a bold claim and call it my favorite season, which makes me pretty brave, because if I've learned a singular thing about South Park fans while making these videos, it's how wildly different your guys' opinions are. But seriously, Season 11 is awesome, with apologies to Jesse Jackson, the Tourette's episode, Imagination Land, Guitar Queero, The List. I look forward to reading your comments about how I'm wrong. Okay, we're getting off topic. Cartman Sucks. This episode involves everything that I love about the show. It discusses an extremely sensitive topic in sexuality and conversion therapy. It also shows us just how horribly stupid Cartman is capable of being. But most importantly, it has Butters. I mean, has there ever been a bad Butters episode? Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to check if you're subscribed. I know. Don't hate me. It unfortunately works to ask that. With our intro out of the way, let's get into our episode analysis of Cartman Sucks. The episode opens up with Cartman
dobro.
bragging to his friends about all the horrible things that he's done to Butters while he's asleep.
Dodam još
He even has a
kakvog nema,
scrapbook of all the
nasmije se, a?
times he's assaulted poor Butters, as if Butters needs more trauma in his life. One thing I do like about this scene is how Cartman shows a genuine interest in photography. It's actually a running gag throughout the series that would be pretty easy to miss, but in multiple episodes, Cartman is actually insanely passionate about this hobby, and for no other reason than Trey Parker thinks it's funny. Eric goes on to explain that everything he has done so far pales in comparison to the plan he has prepared for Butters tonight. Just as Eric is about to tell the boys his plan, Butters shows up for the sleepover. As they're about to leave, Kyle makes an attempt to tell Butters that he's being taken advantage of. Cartman, of course, manipulates the situation and makes Butters think that Kyle is jealous. And the boys leave, annoyed knowing that Cartman is going to do something terrible. Eric is so eager to execute this plan that he suggests they go to sleep already, and even acts like a little Bill Cosby offering Butters sleeping medicine.
No means no, Bill Cosby.
The next day, Cartman sprints to the bus stop, probably the most excited he's ever been in his entire life. He enthusiastically tells the boys he has the greatest picture of all time.
And then I took a picture of his wiener in my mouth.
This highlights how clueless Cartman can be at times, despite his manipulating, his executing genius-level plans, and appearing knowledgeable about many mature subjects, he still misses the mark fairly often. Somehow, Cartman thought this was the ultimate getting Butters moment. I always like to try to give you guys fun facts about these episodes. Matt and Trey actually had the idea for this all the way back in season 6 during the Aspen skiing episode.
I don't know what season it was, but years ago when we did the show about Aspen and skiing, part of that show, Cartman's kind of messing with Butters while he sleeps. You know, where that story went was that while they were in Aspen, Cartman's like, you guys, I did the ultimate. While Butters was asleep, I put my dick in his mouth and took a picture. We cut the whole scene out.
Cartman thinks that what he did makes Butters gay. The boys quickly let Eric know that it actually makes him gay. Also, I love when Kenny gets lines that you can clearly understand.
Kenny, that doesn't make me gay, huh?
Kyle takes this opportunity to mess with Cartman some more, telling him the only way to reverse, and I quote, the gay polarity is to...
The only way you can cancel it out is to get Butters to put your wiener in his mouth.
This is one of those episodes where even if you like Cartman, you just can't help but enjoy watching him panic about all this. So Cartman rushes to go find Butters. He is obviously desperate to make himself not gay anymore. He tricks the gullible Butters with a blindfold, and it gives us one of the more uncomfortable scenes in all of South Park.
I swear on my mother's life, Butters, I'm not going to stick anything yucky in your mouth.
Can we just leave poor Butters alone? Hasn't he been through enough by now? Just as he's about to do the deed, Steven walks in on them and is horrified to see what is taking place. Cartman then runs off, and Steven, of course, takes the whole incident out of context. He then tells Butters that he isn't gay, he's just bi-curious. Steven would know a thing or two about being bi-curious. No, not bike-curious. We already covered that episode. Butters is obviously confused, and this confusion will be a running theme throughout this episode, but basically, Butters is just too innocent to know what is happening here or what Cartman was even attempting to do. Steven takes Butters to Father Maxie, who suggests that Butters be sent away to Camp New Grace, which is a conversion camp, where the idea is to pray the gay away. We'll talk more about this in a minute. Meanwhile, Cartman shows up to Kyle's house to call him out on the false information that he gave him. He pretty much begs the boys not to tell anyone about the incident. Kyle then offers him a deal.
Okay, we won't tell anybody as long as you're super nice to us every day from now on. Oh, right, like that's possible.
This is an underrated part of the episode. The fact that Cartman doesn't even consider that he could be nice to them is just hilarious and shows exactly the kind of person he is. Alright, now we're getting to the beef of this episode, the conversion camp. I guess I'll start by explaining what conversion therapy actually involves. It's a practice that uses any attempt to alter a person's sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression. Most cases involve people under 18, often pushed into it by their parents. The main reason is typically religious beliefs that oppose homosexuality. The methods they use to convert Someone's sexuality can range from basic talk therapy to extremely abusive aversion techniques. There's horror stories all over the internet of people being forced substances that make them nauseous and then try to relate that to any homosexual feelings. In some historical cases, they even performed lobotomies in an attempt to fix sexuality. Conversion therapy can cause significant long-term psychological harm. This includes significantly higher rates of depression, substance abuse, and plenty of other mental health issues. Nearly every single study done on this shows that it has caused more harm than any type of shift in sexuality. The people who are pro-conversion therapy have absolutely no evidence other than personal claims, usually saying, well, I cured a patient who is no longer homosexual, which is funny, considering those patients were probably just tired of being lab rats. As of December 2023, 28 different countries have bans on conversion therapy. Now that we have a basic understanding of what it is, let's use this information as a reference moving forward. So Butters arrives at Camp New Grace totally unaware of what's really going on. He genuinely thinks it's just a summer camp, which again highlights his innocence. The camp leader gives Butters a tour. He tells him that every camper gets an account of Villa Buddy. This is to make sure they don't engage in bi-curious behavior.
But
now he's learning that with the power of Christ and prayer, he can have a whole new life.
This is one of the most shocking scenes in South Park's
history. Yet there's very little controversy. I mean, an episode where they say shit 162 times or made fun of Scientology got 1,000 times more backlash than elementary school children literally unaliving themselves. Why is that? Well, this isn't satire. This is what conversion therapy can actually lead to. South Park was able to deliver this dark humor in a way that exposes the truth behind this practice. It might have offended some people, sure, but the overall message is not only true, but opens eyes to the horrors of conversion therapy. And don't worry, you're not a bad person if you laughed at this scene. Shock value, combined with the delivery of it, makes it a fun, uncomfortable laugh. Fact time. Matt and Trey actually had an entirely different plot for this episode. In the camp was only supposed to take around 2 minutes of the episode. The other plot involved Butters' dad finding him at a rave during the camp, and doing a bunch of wild things to try and turn him straight after discovering this, such as hiring a prostitute in Mexico. Once they actually did their research on conversion camps, they decided this was a much better emotional story. Butters is given a new account of Villa Buddy, and we meet Bradley. Him randomly quoting scriptures always cracks me up.
Do not lie with a man as one lies with a woman. That is detestable.
By the way, Bradley is just Trey doing Stan's voice while biting his nails. I found this interesting. Also, I'm pretty sure he's based on Billy Bibbit from the 1975 film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I can't find Matt or Trey confirming this, but it's listed as a reference on the wiki, so it's worth mentioning. Meanwhile, we learn that Cartman lost the picture of him performing a fellatio. He threatens Kyle to give the picture back, and Kyle lets him know that he doesn't have it. Cartman obviously won't accept this, and he gets ready to fight after calling Stan and Kenny Jews, thinking that they're covering for Kyle.
Ow! Ow!
They never miss an opportunity to make Cartman look completely soy when it comes to anything physical. We then meet our next one-off character, Pastor Phillips, whose homosexuality was cured with the hand of Christ and prayer.
Hello, campers!
Yeah, I don't think anyone needs the joke explained here. He goes on to give a speech about how he's no longer gay. Yeah, not even the children bought that one, buddy. It's likely Pastor Phillips is loosely based on a real-life pastor named Ted Haggard.
What we should think about homosexual activity, it's written in the Bible.
Who was exposed in 2006 for smoking meth and doing butt stuff. Basically, he was preaching about homosexuality and openly fighting gay marriage during the day while hooking up with dudes at night. He went to conversion therapy for this and claimed he was cured. You know, until he was outed a couple years later for hooking up with dudes again. After the assembly, Butters and Bradley get called to the office and get in trouble because Bradley was hiding an underwear catalog. Butters is just confused and doesn't see what's wrong with underwear, bless his heart. The camp leader goes on to say how he's doing his best to try and save all the kids from their urges and facing eternal hellfire. Yeah, definitely saving those kids. The next scene shows Cartman going to the police, telling them that Kyle stole his picture. He then has to explain what the picture is of.
You were sucking somebody's penis.
No, I was not.
Yates tells him that they would need time to get a warrant, and Cartman says that he doesn't have time because Kyle's gonna show the picture to everyone at school tomorrow. Cartman is freaking out, and he decides that he needs to bring his mom in to help with this situation. Eric tells her the truth. Kind of.
Butters got really hot, so he pulled his pajama bottoms down, and then I tripped and fell down, and my mouth landed right on his penis.
The clip is actually like 3 times longer than that, but, you know, copyright. The way Cartman tries to explain how it happened is one of the funnier parts of this episode. Anyways, Leanne ends up calling Kyle's mom. Honestly, her bluntness here needs to be respected.
Apparently, your son has a picture of Eric with another boy's penis in his mouth.
She assures Eric that Kyle doesn't have the picture, which Cartman simply cannot accept. Back at the camp, Butters has a wholesome interaction with Bradley, where they admit that they like each other, except Butters has no idea that Bradley is talking about, you know, liking him. Bradley realizes this is a problem. He's now in too deep and reacts in true conversion therapy fashion.
We're just evil and nothing can change us. There's no other way out, Butters. We have to ourselves.
Bradley is contemplating unaliving. God, I hate saying that, but YouTube, you know, yeah, whatever. Something that I probably haven't talked about enough is how religion in most of these places warps their view on things. Obviously, not all conversion therapy tactics are religion-based, but the ones that are teach you that being gay is quite literally evil. They really try to put it in your head that being gay makes you an abomination of God, and it's your choice to change that. Yeah, it's no wonder this shit leads to life-altering psychological trauma, because what happens when you can't change? In true South Park fashion, Butters gives a speech that is actually a pretty good outlook on sexuality.
I wasn't confused until other people started telling me I was.
The thing is, he still doesn't know that the confusion they're talking about even has to do with sexuality, but it really resonates with Bradley, and he decides to come back. Something I'll never really understand is how some LGBTQ people think South Park is homophobic. Like, how could anyone watch this and not tell that Matt and Trey are supportive about this topic? I'm probably overthinking it, and it's probably as simple as the ones who do think like this just choose to be offended before they even watch it. But I find a lot of posts
ja nisam ništa tu igrao ozbiljno. Imaš one challenge Makiću, iznesi 6 puta bounty ili uzmi 6 puta Welt Sprint. A lakše ti uzeti Welt Sprint, ja sam pokupi 4 na cool. I to ti tam.
Yes, now for one of my favorite scenes in all of South Park. So basically, Cartman has accepted the fact that Kyle is going to show the picture to everyone. He decides that his best option is to just show the picture himself, with the idea that it will at least take some of Kyle's satisfaction away from him. This is a prime example of how Cartman can be extremely impulsive. Like, if he just sat and thought about Kyle's character for a second, it's not really something Kyle would actually do. But Cartman has such a warped view, because if the roles were reversed, Cartman would definitely show the picture. He starts to show his photography collection and makes sure to imply every picture has some deeper meaning. When finally...
What this is, statement against the war in Iraq.
And just when you think the episode couldn't end in a more perfect way...
Do not show picture. Kyle didn't have it after all. Found it under your desk.
This is the ultimate Eric-facing karma moment, mostly because it could have been prevented about 100 different ways, but his self-sabotaging and skewed perception of Kyle causes him to destroy himself. This episode actually made it into the top 20 of all time. I personally have it in my top 10. One thing that separates this episode is how there isn't really an A and B story like there usually is. As this episode progresses, both stories could be considered the A story, which is a pretty hard thing to accomplish. Another episode that on its surface looks pretty controversial and offensive, but actually has a decent meaning behind it. If you guys made it to this point in the video, I'm afraid you have to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Sa Quartermasterom imaš... Kako ne valja? Ali ti valja auto 5 išto. A onda i to nije loše.
must wait.
You still believe in victory?
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Nemoj bulvar dirati, svi nose sad bombe.
A ne radi više bulvar. Makiću.
I need more time.
Ne radi.
Pa, jesi pogledaj šta piše na bulvar? Pa pročitaj. Pa ne radi.
I must wait.
Komu je dozvolio da ne radi?
Ako misliš da ste bulvar spasili da te neko ne ubije, neće.
I must wait.
Jer ne radi to što je radio.
Evo te i ovo deal damage to enemy hunter using bomb lance or bomb launcher.
I'm not ready yet.
Ne moraš bomb launcher, možda uzmeš bomb lance.
Da, sve jedno, bomb lance on bomb launcher.
Tek samo da promenim skin, ovo mi je on dosta ovih.
Jesi pogledao, Matić?
Ajde, može. Nisam, čekaj.
Pogledaj trade.
Stvari uzet ću ja blizu.
Mislim, falit će mi jedan Bloodborne. Morat ću još jednu misiju da rešim.
Pa dobro, rešit ćeš šta. Možda nađemo i na mapi po 3 Bloodborne da imamo.
I'm not ready yet.
Reduce the damage from explosions by 50%.
I?
I must wait.
Vastly reduce the duration of being fully blinded by a flashbang.
I to je to. I gdje tu piše bomb lance?
I must wait.
Pa dobro, ako te pogodi sa bomb lance...
Ne, to nije eksploziv, to što ti ga zabiju, tebe svejedno, razumeš?
Reduce the damage from explosions.
Razumeš?
Više ne možeš preživjeti, ne možeš više preživjeti.
Pa što bi preživao? Pa zabije ti je harpun u grudi i detonirao. Kako ćeš preživjeti to? Ajmo ovako prc na čelu.
Pa znam, a kako preživiš nitro sa 10 metara?
Zato što ne verujem da bude preživiš nitro. Gde?
Ma može, brate.
Ako te Milan pukne, a igra s tobom... Onda ga nisi pogodio. 370 damage radi.
Pa da.
I kako misliš da će da pretekne puno kada ga poješ umreti?
Ne znam, to sam si ja pitao kako pretekne.
A onda ga nisi pogodio.
A jesam, dobijem hit marker.
A nemoj da gledaš hit markere, nisi ga pogodio kad ja kažem. Ja nemam hit markere. Jel čuješ zvuk da si ga pogodio?
Mogu da čujem zvuk na 15 metara.
Jel čuje se zvuk kad udari projektil u nešto? Svaki put kao...
Zvuk.
Ja nemam hit markere, ali svaki put kad pogodim nešto čujem onaj zvuk kao da je nešto deknulo.
Kako nemaš hit markere?
Nemam, isključio sam onaj... Odeš u gameplay opcije, odeš na crosshair i samo onaj...
A što bi to isključio?
Zato što mi to ne treba. Tako.
Ne.
Ti na pamet gađaš, nemaš onaj Corsair, nišan ono.
Ne. Apsolutno ne.
Ne no, staj.
Preznajem da se promaši ni sekiru i nož, ali... Sa lukom i strelom mogu da pogodim. I mušice, Iron Sight na većini oružja ti je dovoljno dobar. Bez da pucam sa hipfireom.
I must wait.
Vidio ovo. Ne mogu da uzmem koplje.
Zato što je palo pod uglu.
Penjem se na merdevine, koplje mi pored merdevina.
I sad pokušava se popne, svaki put.
I'm not ready yet.
Moram staminu ubosti, nemam. Sad možemo.
I must wait.
Open its flesh.
Ovo je vatrna buba izgleda.
A ako imate male kotkice kelta, vatrna buba automatski vam eliminiša onaj zadnji čank kelta koji je mali.
Šlo u bitvu sam.
I must wait.
Eno ih ljudi, trče prema crkvi. Od strane krematorijuma. Gdje ću tu kod tebe?
I'm not ready yet.
Dobre.
Možemo mi i dalje.
I'm not ready yet.
Znači oni su s preke strane, da znate.
I'm not ready yet.
Da, tu ispred tebe. Kod ograde su bili. Čuje se.
I must wait.
Ne čuju traktor.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Ako nisu otišli, ja?
I'm not ready yet. I must wait. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Bacite bubu, pa vidite.
Ja imam bubu, bravo, imam ja.
Not ready yet.
Evo ovdje ću gledati. Ne znam kako se to ulazi.
I'm not ready yet.
Ne mogu se.
I'm not ready yet. I must wait.
Aha.
I'm not ready yet. I must wait.
Što li tu makit još?
Ne vidim ništa, evo.
I'm not ready yet.
Abomination, spawn of living.
Jedino ako nisu dole otišli.
For nothing.
Bounty ima odmah izlaz.
I'm not ready yet.
Imaš mjesto.
I'm not
Kako da
ready
je
yet.
skinem?
Exit, da.
Ne, ovaj
F.
kuhinje.
F.
Na F, da.
F.
Neće na F, nije.
Držiš.
Na E, brate, E.
Ne. Na koje ti je Dark Side dugme?
E.
Onda drži je. Držiš.
I'm not ready yet.
Levi klik ga detoniraš. A na use ga samo isključiš se s nje i možda je pokupiš ako se skupi. Znaš da je. Treba da kasnije. Ja obično vratim kod sebe.
Ovi idu napolje.
Ono makro, glupo će mi iznati.
I must wait. I'm not ready yet.
Što si aktivirao, brate? Treba se samo izaći.
I'm not ready yet.
Zašto? Da ni ti ne znaš s bubom raditi.
Pa ne znam, kad nikad nije koristio.
Vidi. Pa znam, pa to ti ja kažem, da, to ti ja kažem. Dobro sam ti ja rekao. Pa. Dobro, ajde. Bože.
Ja ne bi mogao to, da mi je na F Dark Side.
Ja ne bi mogao da mi je use na F.
Ja nemam poena kako da uzmem trag.
Ja, meni od uvijek
uzmi ga bez poena.
Na bilo koju igru.
Pite Milana kako znao.
Trču si na kastu umjesto na ovo, uzmi Kesić ako imaš poen.
A njemu trebaju pare. Uzumeš, Nakić?
Htjel, to niš, htjel.
Ali si pre toga trčao na ovu kasu ođe.
Htjel je.
Za to mora da ima.
Ima dve.
Milane, si htjel?
Htjel.
Vam do kompounder da vidim da li ima u ovome Stillwateru. Da, kerovi su uvijek u grupi, tu može do 8 poena, 10 su. Ima 4.
Ima neka dve grupe, jedna do druge.
To. To nije loše.
A ako nemaš stamina, onda si nebo.
Pogledaj ovo, jebote.
Možemo i na Bounty ekipu, ovi nisu izašli.
Možemo. Milane, treba da ti vratim health.
Better than starting from nothing.
Evo sad ću. Ovdje ima, ali tako onaj... Ovdje još negdje ima ovih trapova, jel?
Nema, sve sam deaktivirao.
More there than I thought.
Sve sam deaktivirao.
Vratilo.
I'll keep my forge hot. Return soon.
Dao ti kuraca.
Sve gardija, ja.
Magic, steel. I've seen all manner of wounds.
Milane, jel te još svrbi vrh jebo?
Well, low shining beauty. Oh, well. Vasily's ghost. I had that in my bag.
Znači, nisi češkao, nisi?
Dovo. Jebote, život i koplje. Pa je to jebote. Opet naš.
May your road be filled with wonders.
Što misliš da smo longamo?
Strah, a?
Pa obično kad su na short range ne mrdaju.
Ako su van boss arene, imaju...
Headshot je dobio taj. Pazi.
Uf.
Ja, još jedan manje.
See some steel you need?
Pali ovog smrada ovdje.
Beware the envious, my friend.
Gdje mi je? Aha.
There's a good one. Use it well.
Da, ne zna jel dignut. Evo ga ovdje. Nije dignut.
Ali još jedan, jel?
Fali im jedan, da. Treba palit tog isto. Ali su vjerojatno dusi.
You take me in because you think I'm a
Evo ga na
pathetic child.
prozorki isto, nije.
Where
Živ.
have you seen a child? Because all I see are fighters. You're one of us because you're strong.
Gore, gore.
Bra.
Check. And yes, all balanced out.
Eno ga čovjek. Nema digne onog.
Iznad mene čovjek.
Da.
Seth here.